Hi, my name is Nathan Alexander. I'm an Orthodox rabbi and I sell sex toys. It's okay. Don't leave. I know it's very unorthodox for an Orthodox rabbi to sell sex toys, but it's okay. It's really okay. I learned from a very young age that I would find my own unorthodox way to live life. And the truth is that I learned not to care too much about what other people think of me. Whether that's when I talk about sex toys, when I teach about orgasm and anal sex, or whether it's being a marriage counselor, mainly for evangelistic Christians. I made a decision at a very, very young age to not worry too much about what people think about me, but to worry more about how I live my life. That I should live my life with a full heart, with real passion, and with a mission in everything that I do. I grew up in Sydney, Australia, to a traditional Jewish family, passionately Zionistic family. We always were told to respect rabbis, but in my mother's good old Aussie accent, she'd say, "Nathan, rabbis are normal people. They will make mistakes." And it's true. We are normal people and we do make mistakes. But I grew up obviously not born as an Orthodox rabbi and also not born selling sex toys. Something led me here. And this is what it is. At the age of 4, my parents got divorced, and in the same year, just before, I had open heart surgery. I realized at a very, very young age, around that time, that I understood people. I sometimes would hear my mother crying in her bedroom and know that I needed to be there to support her. Yeah, at 4 years old. People used to joke, Nathan's 4 years old and he's ready to get married. He's taking on the responsibility for his mother and for his sister and all the other people around him. I remember my mother reading my grade 2 report where my teacher said, Nathan has a deep sense of understanding for other people. He has a sense that he can know what's happening for people in the room and either leave because he knows he can't handle it or solve the problem before it becomes too big. The first time that I remember really standing up for who I am and having to learn not to care about what other people think was when I started my journey of becoming more religious, more of a practicing Orthodox Jew. In high school, I used to be teased for being the religio. In fact, they used to tease me. They used to call me Nate Dogg, who was some rapper at the time of me being in grade 9 or 10. And they thought that it was funny because I got offended being this religious kid being named after a rapper. And I had to learn at that time that they will have their issues with who I am. But what's really important is for me not to have issues with who they are. If I respect them, if I honor them, if I understand that they're teasing me because something's maybe going on in their life, maybe their self-esteem is low, but therefore they're going to tease me to bring themselves up, well then I feel sorry for them. And I really, really do. Anyway, my journey continued on to always be ready to be different. In fact, I remember I grew up very much around my teenage years in a Chabad house, but I was the Zionist of the Chabad house. I remember when I started to only want to eat kosher. We actually didn't have a kosher home until I left home when I was 18 years old. Up until then, I don't remember exactly the age, but I used to sit in the Chinese restaurants with my family. They'd be eating non-kosher Chinese. I'd make sure to be there with them, but sipping a Coke. And it was okay to be different. I'm quite sure that my family taught me that they would accept me no matter who I am. And that allowed me the freedom to be who I am, do what I believe in, even if I'm surrounded by people or a society that is judgmental of what that thing is. One of the greatest inspirations in my life was my grade 5 teacher, Mr. Thatcher. I wish I could find him. I've spent hours on Facebook looking for him. I was not a very, very intelligent kid at school. In fact, my mother was told many times by my principal that I would never, ever succeed. Well, thank you to that principal. I'm now talking to a few hundred people and have spoken to thousands of people on stage. So I think I am a success in my own right, in my own way. In the most humble way, I'm saying that. Anyway, Mr. Thatcher taught me as a different teacher. He was a teacher who, even though I was not intellectually great, he understood my EQ. We used to go for walks in the garden, doing mathematical questions, throwing footballs, rather than being in class learning on a blackboard. You know what happened to Mr. Thatcher? He was fired because he didn't give us enough homework. Mr. Thatcher inspired me to get involved in education, and the truth is, from the age of about 15, I've been teaching. I've gone through all different teaching levels, all different teaching positions, from being a classroom teacher to an informal educator, to the head of Jewish studies in a boys' school in South Africa, to being the national shaliach of Bnei Akiva, to standing in front of 1,000 evangelists and teaching them how to bring peace and passion into their home. I believe desperately in educating the way that people will receive. King Solomon says that we must teach in a way that people will understand, the way that the youth will hold on to it forever. Don't teach in the way that you want to teach as a teacher so that it's easy for you. Don't stick to the script just because that makes it easy for you to write exams and to mark exams. Be in touch with your students. Be in touch with those learning from you in order to reach their hearts and make a difference in their lives. To cut a long story short, after we came back to Israel from being the national shaliach of Bnei Akiva in South Africa, I decided to go on a crazy unorthodox path. I decided to start a website called BeBetterTogether.com that sells sex toys in a tsanua way, in a modest way. Why did I decide to do this? Because no one else was doing it. It was unacceptable in the religious world, whether Jewish, Christian, or Muslim, to be selling sex toys. Sex toys were seen as connected to pornography. But the truth is, the Talmud talks about anal sex. The Talmud talks about orgasm. And I made a decision that to be an Orthodox rabbi is not a reason not to talk about sex, not to talk about passion. It's the reason to talk about sex. It's a reason to talk about passion. It's a reason to open an online store that sells sex toys. To cut a long story short, ladies and gentlemen, my 7 minutes has already run out. I beg you, I plead with you, live a life full of passion. Live a life full of heart. Live a life with a mission. Because it doesn't matter what other people think about us. It's about what we do in this world. It's what we manage to achieve in the world, no matter how unorthodox people think we are.